And what that'll do is that'll get that, fill that in on the back side of this. All right. There we go.
Oh, wow.
That's how you know we got it. Okay, so we got that. I forgot to mention, you're getting to see our workshop, which was once formerly known as the aft cabin of the boat. And it quickly became apparent this was going to be our workshop. And so we stopped all work in the aft cabin until we get to a point where this is going to be our primary focus. But we're obviously not at that point right now. So basically all we're doing is sealing this. We're letting this absorb into the pores of the wood so the water doesn't have the pathway to do so. Don't forget to watch it all the way through.
Yep.
You know, you guys like to only watch part of it. You gotta watch the whole thing. Alright?
Just a thumbnail.
Thumbnail. Welcome back to another exciting and thrill-filled adventure with DIY Nautical Dream. What do you think about that total boat penetrating epoxy? Do you think that's going to be any good?
We'll find out.
Yeah. Hopefully it makes it one more winter, right?
Hi guys, welcome back. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Okay, see you. And don't forget to watch all the way up to the end.
In case you missed last week's video, we finally went back and cut out the remainder of the rotted plywood and the fiberglass tabbing that was holding it in place. And glad that we did that, because there was still a lot of moisture and rotted plywood trapped up in that area, and we just really don't want to leave that behind. We want to get as much of it out as we can. So by doing so, we accomplished the goal of ensuring we got as much as we could get that was worth going after. And so we cleared that out, and that's going to leave us a clean slate to repair that area and get it back to good again. One of the other things we wanted to get done while we were at it was to do a test fit of the plywood filler panel, and we were able to get that to fit in pretty well with minimal trimming on the radiuses. And once the filler panel was installed, it quickly became apparent that I had trimmed off way too much on the forward edge here, and we have some glaring large gaps that are going to need to be filled one way or the other. We can either fill them with scrap pieces of wood, or we can fill them with a combination of wood scraps and epoxy, thickened epoxy. Either one of those options doesn't sound very good, so we're going to have to come up with a different plan. So we put blue tape on there, and we made measurements of where we want to put extra edge margin, and we're going to take this home and we will cut out a new piece of filler plywood panel to go in the place of this one here. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. The other thing we noticed was down here at the far end, there's a weird angle gap that we got to do something about as well. We have a little bit of homework to do on this one. Lastly, we wanted to do a sneak peek of the new teak panel with the plywood filler panel installed, just to see what it's all going to look like. Check it out. All right, so yeah, we just got this we just have it sitting in here by hand basically, but oh my gosh, I am really happy with this, baby. How do you feel about it?
It's good. It looks really nice. We were doing a really good job.
Compare it to the piece of plastic that was in there before.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like better? Do you like the plastic junk that was in there, or do you like this Nautical teak wood panel in here?
Well, I kind of miss the white one.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the plastic, or do you like the teak better? Taking a look at these gaps here, I'd say our fit up of this panel, and this is still just a rough fit, I'd say our fit up of this panel is looking a lot better than the white plastic garbage that we took down before. That was just a band-aid from somebody else's failed attempt at repairing a problem that was not even fixed properly. So we just got to do better than that. So I'd say for the most part, with the exception of the few of my mistakes that I made that kind of set us back a little bit, I'd say we had a pretty good productive weekend last weekend. And with all that being said, that gets you up to speed, and that's going to transition us right into this week's video. So hope you enjoyed it, and now stay tuned for this week's video.
Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm Priscilla.
And I'm Rich.
Together we make DIY Nautical Dream. So this week's update, we're gonna added edge margin, and then we cut out the new plywood filler panel.
Yeah, so we're gonna add a little bit of extra edge margin. We realized that we cut it out. The first plywood panel, we cut it out a little too small on the forward leading edge. So we're gonna add a little bit of edge margin to that, so we have a little bit more to trim off as we fit it in there. And then we'll go ahead and check the fit on that and see how well it fits in there and how much we have to trim off. Today we are going to get that down to its final size. And then hopefully once we get it down to its final size, we can go ahead and coat that with penetrating epoxy and maybe start getting ready to install it. So wish us luck on that one.
Alright, so stay tuned guys. We're gonna show you our update this week's video.
Alright, see you guys in a little bit. Alright, so as you remember in last week's video, we had a good fit on the radiuses, sides, and back. But the forward long edge, we had cut too small and left too big of a gap. We're going to require a lot of filler and a lot of extra material to fill that gap. So we decided we're going to make a better piece and add more on the front edge to add more edge margin. So that's what we're going to do now, is repair that mistake that I made. Okay, so we got that. We got all of our lines drawn on here for extra edge margin. Adding a little bit here on the end, and front edge can add all that. Okay, so that should work. We'll get ready to cut it. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so now we have the new and improved version of the plywood filler panel cut out with the larger edge margin on the front edge compared to the one we did last week. So we'll just take a little bit off of here, stop down there. Now it's time to clamp them together and flush trim cut them with the router. All right, couple more clamps and we're good to go. This is a very handy tool right here, this flush cut router bit. It's very nice. One of my favorite tools right here. We'll unclamp it and see what it turned out like. Man, we almost forgot one really important step, and that's to locate the holes. Because without these holes located, we're going to go back to guessing where this thing goes. That was pretty funny when the router got to this spot. It scared me. I thought I messed up. Turned out okay. Alright, with any luck, we got our holes located here and here. There's no hole down here because it's just too small and it's going to actually tuck up and in under the fiberglass on the boat. So we'll go ahead and unclamp. We'll see what we got here. We're missing a hole.
Perfect. Oh
no! We gotta go back to square one. Alright, so we forgot to locate this hole here. So what we've done is grab the next size smaller drill bit, make sure that one's located. That one's located. That one. That one. And also that one's located. And that one here. So it tells me we're in pretty good shape. We're definitely close enough for government work. So we're just going to hold this in here like that. And we should still be good. It's not that we couldn't relocate this hole on the boat, but it would take a lot more time and setup. So let's just do it here now. Okay, we're good. Let's put this back. Okay. Once again, we will check it again. Should have twins. Okay, so everything's the same. Hole there, 4 holes there, 3 holes here. We added on just a little bit more edge margin, so right here we just added this extra on. We may have to trim it a little bit when we're on the boat, and we're okay with that. We'd rather have a little extra than not enough. Otherwise we're going to be filling a lot of epoxy in there, so we don't want to do that. No point in that. I'd rather have the wood in there instead of the epoxy. Okay, there you go. That is it. Okay, so we're doing a fit check on the new piece we just cut back at home today, and it's a better fit for sure. And we knew there was going to be a little bit of overlap right here in this area, and that is true, there is, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So in order to get this to fit up the rest of the way, we're going to have to trim a little bit of this fiberglass tabbing off, which we're already planning on doing that, but I wanted to wait till we had the piece here to fit and verify how much we have to take off. So, but it's not going to be that bad once we get it in there. Down here we'll put some thickened epoxy up inside this fiberglass lip. Once we get it trimmed to the right size, we'll start packing that full of thickened epoxy. And then down here, and I'm not sure what we're going to be doing down here yet until we get this piece of wood mounted up in here a little bit better, but we know for sure we're going to be putting some thickened epoxy on the inside of this fiberglass tab here, at least until this point here. And what that'll do is that'll get that, fill that in on the back side of this, because right now it's an open spot back there for air to get to, and it's just going to cause more condensation. So for right now, that's what we're going to get ready to do. Our favorite tool to do that job, the multi-tool. Set the camera up and trying to get a good angle on this to show you what we're talking about. It's not a lot of trimming, so we'll get that set up. It should only take a few minutes. And I think the best way to handle that is going to be, I'll just hold this in place and alright, there we go. Oh no! That's how you know we got it.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
so we got that. Okay, we're just going to do some cleanup cuts here, kind of even it out a little bit. Okay. Alright, so we got that cleaned up pretty good. Okay, so let's do another test fit of the plywood filler panel. See how it fits now after we did that final trimming. Hopefully we have it right where we want it and we can go ahead and move on to the next step. Close enough. I have to break that one, I guess. See if I can chip that off with something. Okay. Got that out of there. And see, it wasn't a problem anyways, but we weren't sure, so. The problem we're having now is you can see on that far forward edge there where it keeps bending up. I'm trying to figure out why the panel's not seating all the way and why we have that gap underneath it on the forward edge there. Something's not seating right. So we got a pretty good fit now. We're looking pretty good.
Oh, wow.
Still haven't figured out what's going on. It feels like there's something on top of the plywood filler panel that's causing it to not seat up correctly because it's still quite flexible on the far end there. Something's not quite right. Alright, so you remember the holes we were checking earlier today when we drilled this up. So let's see if they actually fit up into the structure. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. Right there. And, oh yeah, there's another good one. There. That one. Okay, there's that one. Got a problem here. Alright, that one does not. That one does not go, so we will figure out what's going on with that later. Okay, but for now we're going to put a screw in there. I'm going to get a screw in there to hold it. Oh man, we got problems with that one. That's alright, we'll throw that away when we're done with it. But and we got a screw down there holding that in. So let's check it out. We're pretty happy with that. Happy all the way through and over there. And we got a nice little cutout for the wires here. I still want to route a slot so the wires have somewhere to kind of sit into. But for now, that's what we got. And then we'll still have to fill in this gap. We'll fill in that gap with some thickened epoxy. Once this has been coated with penetrating epoxy and we're ready to do the final mount, we will fill that in once everything's mounted up in there. But we're not at that point yet. Right now we're still doing the fit up, making sure we're good with everything. But it does look pretty good. One thing I'm kind of concerned with is if I should pull this off of here, but it looks like I can pull it after this is mounted. We just won't epoxy anything on that back edge. We can epoxy here and all the way around there, but nothing on the back edge. So I think that's what we're going to do. And then we'll pull this at a later date and we should be able to just slide it back out. Yeah, I think we're pretty happy with the fit on this. I like it. I think once we get the gaps filled in with thickened epoxy, once this is final installed, I think it's going to be good. The only concern I have is this area right here. I don't like, I'll show you. I don't like how it goes up. See? And it angles up right here. So when we go to put our teak plywood up against here, that means it's going to angle up, and we need the teak plywood to follow this edge right here. So we're going to have to do some kind of shimmy action, and it's not going to be this, because we want this up against here as much as we can get it. So that means we're going to have to do something on the behind the scenes portion of the teak plywood when it goes up there. But the interesting part is we only get the angle on the dangle down here. As it gets closer to here, we're back to even again. So it's just something to do with the upper deck, the way that it goes like that, and we don't have any control over that on this side. So we're gonna work with it and make sure that our teak plywood, when it goes on here, looks like it's smooth and even all the way throughout. And we'll figure that out. But that's one of the issues we got going on. And so other than that, I think it's going to turn out really nice once we get everything all put into place. So if you remember previously in last week's video, we had undercut the forward edge of this where it interfaces with the fiberglass. We undercut that and made too large of a gap. So this time we wanted to make a tighter gap, so we're going to use less filler, less extra material, less epoxy, etc. So we're not going to be filling in a huge gap. So this is a much better fit. Time to fill the cavities with thickened epoxy. Good times up ahead. So one of the things I'm trying to stop is I'm trying to prevent these cavities back here where you can see back in there the dampness. So all that is there's an area of the deck up above that doesn't have any coring to it. And so what happens is on really cold days like today, it causes that condensation to form in there and a little bit of dampness. And so if we have our teak plywood up here mounted in place and this cavity isn't closed in, sealed in with like epoxy or something or some kind of insulation, it's going to continue to form condensation over the time, and eventually it's going to start dripping down onto the plywood and causing it to start to get moisture in there. And we just try to stop that. And so what we're doing is we're going to, so you see here, we are filling this void in with thickened epoxy all the way down, and then we'll go forward as well and just keep filling this in. And that's going to be, it's going to serve two purposes. It's going to be our insulation on this radius up above here where there's no coring, and the other thing it's going to do is it's going to provide something for the screws here, these mounting screws, to grab onto as we're mounting our trim and everything back on here once we start reassembling everything. So it's kind of got a dual purpose, and we're just trying to, so we got extra cavities back here we need to fill in as well. So we're going to fill in as much of these as we can with thickened epoxy until we eliminate all those voids. And back here we'll fill that in at some point as well. That's what we're working on right now. Okay, so we're going to take this cup here, we're going to mix up some more thickened epoxy, and we're mixing it extra thick. So we're going to start off with 3 pumps of resin. So there's our 3 pumps of resin. And now we're going to take our adhesive filler and we're going to put it in there. And this is where everybody says I'm doing it wrong, but this is the way we're going to do it. Is we put the filler in before we put the hardener in, because we want as much working time as we can possibly have. So I got 3 pumps, and I'm going to put in three heaping scoops of filler. And then I'll take my, we call them tongue depressors, popsicle stick, whatever you want to call it. It's a wooden stick. And we buy these wooden sticks in bulk. We can buy them in bulk on Amazon. And all we're doing right now is we're just trying to mix it up. So right now you can see the 2 layers are separate. And we're just going to try and mix it to where it's all one thick mess. And once we have the consistency we want, then we will add our hardener. It'll thin it up a little bit more, and we'll end up having to add about maybe 1.5 more spoonfuls of filler until we have the desired thickness we want. And we're just using this to fill a hole, so that's why we want it really thick. We're not using it to bond anything together. We're not using it to paint onto any surface. We're using it strictly to fill a hole, a big void. So that's why we want it really thick. And we scrape the sides just to make sure we don't have any dry spots in there. And so that's really super thick now. See that? That's kind of what we're looking for. Problem is, now we got to add 3 pumps of the hardener. Once we add the hardener, it's going to thin it up a little bit. And it's slow hardener too, so we have as much working time as we can hope for. And we want to mix this up really good. We don't want any spots that aren't mixed thoroughly, because otherwise it may or may not cure, or it might cure super slow. But whatever the case may be, we want to make sure it's mixed as good as we can get it. And that's just about perfect. That's exactly the consistency we want. So I don't have to add any more, because I don't want it to slump, I don't want it to sag. I want it to go in there and stay. I might add just a tiny bit more. Just a little bit more. Right there. Right there. That is what we're looking for right there. So it's not gonna slump, sag, or droop or anything like that. So that's what we're looking for. Now if we were looking to spread this on something as a bonding agent or something like that, to adhere 2 pieces together, bond 2 pieces together, something like that, we would not make it that thick, because it wouldn't grip on, it wouldn't soak into the material or anything like that. This is just strictly for filler. Alright, so we're going to be adding more thickened epoxy to the void up here. And we got it really thick. The reason it's so thick is because we're using it more as a filler, not a bonding, not for bonding this time. And I'm doing it in small batches because the thing with epoxy is if you put a large quantity in a small container, it will kick off really fast because it's all packed in together. And we have working time. Takes a little bit longer because we're mixing a lot of batches, but I'd rather be mixing a lot of batches instead of wasting more epoxy than we need to. We're already using a lot of material just to fill this area up, but once it's filled we won't be getting back in there ever again. And we also want it to be a good area for the screws to grab onto. So just like that, we only have that much more to go, so that's about 3 or 4 more cups, 3 or 4 more batches of epoxy to go. So we're not going to film all of it, just kind of wanted to show you the whole process. I showed you filling it from this side, showed you me filling it from here, and so now you get kind of the idea of what we're trying to do here. And then we're just going to go ahead and off camera do the rest of it, but just know that this is a very time consuming process, but it's an important one because also that's the same material that these screws are going to be going into to hold all of our trim and everything on at the end. And so since everything else was all rotted in there, we're going to have our screws going into epoxy instead, and it'll be a nice grip for the screws to hold on to. Okay, as we promised, we're going to show how much of that we got filled in. And so we got all the way down to right there, and then the rest, this area down here, we're gonna have to fill in next time. We're gonna have to fill it in once we have the plywood up here. I gotta get a better idea of how much we need to put in, but that's a pretty big void. We may actually end up epoxying a piece of trimmed up plywood, small piece, almost like the size of like a square dowel or something. Might epoxy that in there just to help fill up some of the space, but I got to reassess that once the plywood's back up in place. And so right now what we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to epoxy that plywood on one side so that we can start sealing it up so moisture will not get in there. But anyways, that's where we're at with filling this in this time. We got pretty far, so looks good. It's gonna do the job. Another thing we did, we backed these screws out just a little bit, just in case the epoxy makes it hard for us to get those in and out. We backed them out a little bit and we can re-drill the holes. A lot of these we'll have to relocate the holes because screws are not going to self-start in that epoxy, and we don't want them to because we don't want them to crack it or anything like that. So we'll drill some small pilot holes. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get it ready to mix up that penetrating epoxy and start coating that piece of plywood. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and mix up some penetrating epoxy right now. And the whole purpose for penetrating epoxy is to seal this surface. We'll put one coat on now, a really heavy thick coat, get as much in there as we can. And then once it sets up, we will flip it, do the other side, and we'll do each side at least twice. And then we'll do a final coat of bilge coat paint on there with the white paint that we've been using. So you can see this is very thin, very runny, which is exactly how we want it, because we want it to get inside the wood. We want it to penetrate inside the wood as much as we can, so the water won't have a chance to do it. We don't want to spend too much time messing around with this stuff because it will stand by. Alright, we got the right brush for the job. That one doesn't work for the size container we're using. I would prefer to use a foam brush, but we don't have that luxury right now, so
we'll start up higher and work our way down, because it does want to run downhill. And I forgot to mention, you're getting to see our workshop, which was once formerly known as the aft cabin of the boat, and it quickly became apparent this was going to be our workshop, and so we stopped all work in the aft cabin until we get to a point where this is going to be our primary focus. We're obviously not at that point right now. So basically all we're doing is sealing this. We're letting this absorb into the pores of the wood so the water doesn't have the pathway to do so. Not as easily anyways. I mean, it could still probably get in there, but it's not going to just get in there because of condensation or anything like that. It would need to be sitting with water on it for probably a while. Really want to give it a chance to get into the edges, because this is the most easiest route the water can get into the wood, is through the exposed edges. See, it's soaking that up pretty good, which is a good sign. We just want to get all these little pores and pathways for air and water sealed up so that it doesn't get in there. And with penetrating epoxy, you want to work with it quick, because time is not on your side. This stuff likes to cure quickly, and once it starts curing, it starts to get thicker and it doesn't penetrate as well. So we just want to take advantage of the thin viscosity while we have it, because it, like I said, it will start to get thick and it won't absorb into the pores of the wood as easily. But right now it's still going in nicely. So now we have quite a bit left over, but we want to try and use it as much as we can, because this stuff becomes quite hot while it cooks off in a container. So we want to eliminate that from happening if we can. Now you can see what it takes to apply penetrating epoxy on something. It doesn't take a lot of effort, doesn't take a lot of time. It is rather messy because the stuff drips everywhere because it's so thin. But we're back here in the workshop anyway, so
Alright, so what do you think, honey?
I think they should watch the video all the way through. That's what I think.
Okay.
So.
Yep, and subscribe.
Yeah, all the time. So,
if you have other account, please do it.
Yeah, make a few. But we're really trying to get to that 1,000 mark. We're close, but we're still a little bit far away also at the same time. All right, so we went ahead and got that cut to the final size. Took a little bit of hand sanding, a little bit of final trimming, but I think we have a good fit on it. We're talking about the plywood filler panel. It looks like it's going to do what we need it to do. So we're going to start bonding that into place. And trust me, we're going to be using a lot of thickened epoxy. So we coated it with the penetrating epoxy to seal it. So it's now sealed. And we went ahead and painted it on the top side so that it will be sealed from any moisture coming down from on top. And then once we have it installed, we'll go ahead and paint it on the bottom side as well. All we're really trying to do is protect that panel so the water does not intrude inside it and start to delaminate, start to rot it, and cause all the problems that we dealt with on the one that we're cutting out. So
right.
It's all secondary structure, but nevertheless, we want to make sure we do a good job. We're in there. We want to do the right job the first time. So
and hoping we're not going to do it again.
Yeah, we hope to never ever be back in that area again, so we want to do a quality job first time.
Okay.
First pass quality, folks. That's what we're after.
All right.
All right. So let's wrap it up, baby.
All right. So guys, please watch it from the very beginning up until the end.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, because hey, the watch hours helped us as well as subscribers do. So that's our goal. We got to hit that 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So that's what we're shooting for.
Okay, so stay tuned, guys. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below.
Right here. Ding, ding, ding. All right. Thanks
See
a lot.
you.
See ya. Dang, if I only hit record. Man.
I think you did.
Okay.
Did you?
Oh, man. Is it on?
No.
Man, these GoPros.
Yep. You GoPro.
So it's not working then, huh?
Mm-mm.
Dang it. Well, all right. Maybe you can help me.
I did last night.
All right.
Okay, so what do you think, honey?
Well, I think they should watch the video all the way through first of all.
Wait, hang on 1 second. Do you think we recorded it?
Oh, no. Did we?
No.
Oh,
Let's
man.
redo it again.
Dang,
Okay.
GoPro.
Take 10.
Take 900.
Okay.
Of the new teak panel.
Wait, hang on 1 second. Did we record it? Oh.
Yeah. And are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Just like we are, oh.
All right. Straighten her out here.
Dang, I don't have my microphone.
Oh, man. You almost had me on that one. Dang, that would have been bad.
Welcome back. Oops. JK. Okay, that's it.
All right.
Stay tuned.
Dang, it's not recording again.
Always.
Man. Is it?
No.
Is on the light on?
I'm gonna redo it.
Man, these GoPros. This thing
Blame
is
it on
so...
GoPro, huh?
Well, I pushed the button, the light was working, and now it's stopped.
Okay.
I don't know. It's so frustrating.
Just let's redo it again.
Yep. We'll start over.
Yeah.
We'll start over. And by the way, we are the DIS of Y.
Nautical is
Stream. That is us.
Okay, quit playing, honey.
All right. Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed yet, oh man, dang it. I don't think I... Did I hit it? Can you see the...
No, you didn't.
Man.
Oh, you did.
Is it?
No, we have to redo it.
Oh man.
Yep.
These GoPros. Man.
Yep.
All right.
Time for a new one. Anyways, bye. Oh, is it recording? Maybe not. Did we record it?
Hang on. No, not yet.
Perfect.